There would be millions and millions of people who simply would not see it that way. People who suffered terribly. People who were forbidden from meeting loved ones at all.
Yeah, no I love how he's trying to bring this all back. It's like, you know, yeah, I mean, it was bad, you know, there's so many people who had to be locked down and couldn't have the fun and partying we were having, you know, all y'all were just inside your dreary apartments, in your abject poverty. I was just getting loaded. We were getting wasted, you know, popping off.
Or outside.
I love this. Boris Johnson apologizes over the party. I believed it was a work event. This is not a work event. If I do remove my shirt, is this now not still a work event? You see before you two shining work events going down here. Yes. Yeah. I don't actually know what happened with Boris. He's getting shamed for not wearing a mask somewhere. Dining or clubbing or something? I don't know. Let's find out.
I want to apologize. I know that millions of people across this country have made extraordinary sacrifices.
Since the stream has started, loads and loads more senior MPs have been calling for Boris to resign. Also, this event was bring your own booze. How fucking tight are they? Okay, wait. I have to see what I don't even know what it is yet.
Across this country have made extraordinary sacrifices over the last 18 months. I know the anguish that they have been through, unable to mourn their relatives, unable to live their lives as they want, or to do the things they love. And I know the rage they feel with me and with the government I lead when they think that in Downing Street itself, the rules are not being...
It's worse. He had 100 government employees have a booze party during the lockdown when students that did the same thing got massive fines. Rules for thee, not for me. Oh my, yes. Oh, delicious. Yes. Come over about, I don't know, 5:15. We'll have ourselves a little bit of a corker. Of course, bring your own corks if you know. We're not going to be providing provisions for all of you vagabonds. Yes.
Properly followed by the people who make the rules. And though I cannot anticipate the conclusions of the...
All right, I got a Kubi. You don't need to type it in all caps. Boris Johnson. Senior Tories urge PM to quit after party apology. The PM apologized for the way he had handled the event in Downing Street in 2020. He said he understood the public's rage over it. Cabinet members, including Deputy... Oh, sorry, this is the BBC. Cabinet members, including Deputy PM Dominic Raab, rallied around Mr. Johnson. But Scottish Tory leader Douglas Ross and senior backbencher William Ragg have called him to quit. Mr. Ross, an MP and MSP, said he has a difficult conversation with Mr. Johnson after the PM's apology for the MPs earlier on Wednesday. He said he would write it to the 1922 committee, which organises Tory leadership consensus to register the lack of confidence in the PM. He's the Prime Minister. It is for the government that put the rules in place. He is to be held accountable for his actions, he said. If a 54 backbench Conservative MP sent leaders to the 1922 committee, it would trigger a leadership challenge. Ministers have urged MPs to wait for the outcome of the investigation into the alleged covert rule-breaking at Downing Street parties head by civil servants Sue Gray, in which they say it will be published shortly. But a backbencher, William Ragg, who chairs an influential select committee, said the Prime Minister's position was untenable. I don't think it should be left to the findings of a civil servant to determine the future of the Prime Minister and indeed who governs the country, he told the BBC's Radio 4 programme. I offer my heartfelt apologies. That's pretty silly.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty silly. You silly British people. Throwing them parties. TheCulture.tv is rating with the party 19. Thank you so much, TheCulture.tv. Hey, can everyone give me a favor and do a follow back on twitch.tv/TheCulture.tv. One would appreciate such things. Okay.
Current inquiry. I have learned enough to know that there were things we simply did not get right. And I must take responsibility. Number 10 is a big department.
No, I do deeply appreciate what he's saying. Fine speech this, indeed, yes.
With the garden as an extension of the office, which has been in constant use because of the role of fresh air in stopping the virus. And
no shame.
Garden just after 6 on the 20th of May, 2020. to thank groups of staff
Boulder
for
Dash.
going back into my office 25
Skin
minutes
fiddle.
later to continue working. I believed implicitly that this was a work event.
How did that? Yeah, I guess technically a work party is a work event. It's like, well, you know, come down, it'll be smashing. We'll have ourselves a couple of shandies, and then maybe see who wants to go into the closet behind the door and see what a little doodle will do to one another. Yes, but strictly a work event to that. Yes.
But Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker,
with
please.
hindsight, I should have sent everyone back inside. I should have found some other way to thank them. And I should have recognised that even if it could be said technically to fall...
This is the most British scandal ever. I thought the other Boris Johnson scandal was the most British scandal. If you don't know what it was about fucking him renovating his office and the fineries of him renovating, like, and using like public money to do so. And everyone's like, what is the wallpaper, sir? There's wallpaper from the ceiling to the floor. There's rich draperies and diamonds and other things. Fineries of the highest fashion. Mr. Speaker, certainly you will not listen to the gentleman here speaking of my office and in such fineries. No, it was simply aesthetics. It was necessary for the American, for the British people, as you know. But this one is like, what, we had a party of 500 people, or sorry, 100 employees. We all got wasted. We're all idiots. Fucking, yeah, no kidding. I should have found a different way to thank them. If only there was a better way I could have thanked all my employees than getting them wasted and loaded and seeing if they'd fornicate with each other.
Within the guidance, there would be millions and millions of people who simply would not see it that way. People who suffered terribly. People who were forbidden from meeting loved ones at all.
Yeah, no shit. I love how he's trying to bring this all back. It's like, yeah. I mean, it was bad. You know, there's so many people who had to be locked down and couldn't have the fun and partying we were having. You know, while all y'all were just inside your dreary apartments in your abject poverty. I was just getting loaded. We were getting wasted. You know, fucking popping off.
Or outside.
I love this. Boris Johnson apologizes over the party. I believed it was a work event. This is not a work event. If I do remove my shirt, is this now not still a work event? You see before you two shining work events going down here. Yes. Yeah.
And to them and to this House, I offer my heartfelt apologies. And all I ask is that Sue Gray be allowed to complete her inquiry into that day and several others so that the full facts can be established. And I would, of course, come back.
Okay, haven't, like, a lot of British people died? Like, a lot of British people died for a lot of reasons related directly to Boris Johnson's management of this crisis, like his refusal to do lockdowns for a very long time, his rollout, his underfunding of the NHS. Aren't those very serious things that have been going on in Britain for the longest time? But it's this. This is what's going to take him down. Of all things, not being one of the key promoters of Brexit, the Brexit disaster that Britain has fallen itself in, like fucking quasi reigniting the troubles. No, none of that. That's all fine. That's all good. Like, that's just well-to-do, you know, it's quite quaint. We have this fuel shortage crisis, you see. Nothing's really working anymore. Little strange. I mean, a lot of it does have to do, of course, with the vaccination, the COVID, and all that stuff, but it does also have to do with Brexit. Oh, yes, Brexit. Nigel, can I get a high five? Yes, of course, Mr. Speaker. Here I am, Nigel Farage, here to fuck you all again.
This House.
Downing Street, what is going on? What is going on, Downing Street?
Make a statement.
I can't believe this. Is this, and now they're voting on it, and now everyone's coming out? It's like, yes, outrage, we must replace him, take him down. If this is what takes down Boris Johnson after everything else, holy fuck, Britain. I mean, I hate Boris Johnson as much as the next British person, but that's terrible. That's horrible. It's the party, the 100-person party he had. I mean, okay. What'll make this great is if there is just some incredible pictures that come out of this, okay? I want to see full-on Boris Johnson in a diaper, rolling around, people pouring Pepto-Bismol all over him, throwing gummy bears, jelly beans, fucking Skittles at his body to see what sticks. Like, if all that takes place while he's, like, covered in jellyfish and trout or something, then, yes, it was worth it. This was all worth it. This is the scandal of the century. This is way worse than Prince Andrew, okay? Prince who? I have no idea who he is. All I know is when I look at the BBC, I see a pile of kelp and Boris Johnson's naked body just pouring into it. That's what I want to see, okay? Let's get there. Oh, yes.
That apology was pretty worthless, wasn't it? Let me tell him why this matters. Yesterday in this chamber, honourable members told
It sucks because like the alternative is basically Richard Spencer looking ass Keir Starmer, and he's horrible. Like, this is such an easy dunk. And still, you're making me dislike you more for some reason. I kind of like the party guy. I kind of like the guy who's like, I thought it was a work event. Oh, I just thought it was a work event. Oh, darling, yes. But you're like, well, that was a pretty terrible apology. Not exactly what the British people deserve at this time.
stories about the sacrifices people across the country were making. This House and the whole country were moved by the honourable member for Strangford as he talked about his mother-in-law dying alone. He was following...
Yeah, and there's probably so many countless stories, like not to mention like all the retirement homes and the mass deaths that were occurring there. Like Boris Johnson has a lot to answer for. Honestly, it is going to astound me if this is what takes him down. If this is the moment, if this is how Boris is finally removed, my word, Britain. Oh, but thank you. Thank you. That was delightful. That was absolutely darling, and I appreciate the British people for bringing us these two comedians and all their foibles as they run everything into the ground. Way back, he called Muslim women letterboxes because of their clothes and other racist shit. He wrote a fucking anti-Semitic novel. Does everyone know about that? Before I move on, does everyone know Boris Johnson wrote a book where he blames like Jewish people for controlling the media? It's kind of like, you know, if Ben Shapiro became the Prime Minister of Britain, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, didn't he write a book about how, this white cop shoots a black kid, and how we all really have to feel sorry for the white cop because he was powerless in the moment, you know, that kind of stuff. Okay, I'll show you the book. Everyone's like, no, I don't care about the Amazon walkout. I want to know about it. A group of Jewish academics and campaigners voiced their concerns about the prejudice of the Conservative leader, while residents of Jeremy Corbyn's constituency expressed their full confidence in the representative. Boris Johnson has invoked some of the oldest and most pernicious anti-Semitic stereotypes in a book he wrote when he was a Conservative shadow minister. He describes the Jewish oligarchs who run the media and fiddle the fixtures to fix the election in their favor. Fiddle the fixtures to fix the election in their favor. He portrays a Jewish character, Sammy Katz, a proud nose and curly hair, and paints him as malevolent, stingy, snake-like Jewish businessman who exploits the immigrant workers for profit. There's nothing subtle about this. We know what anti-Semitism looks like. Yeah, I mean, that's less anti-Semitic and more just kind of like plagiarism from the elders of Zion. Like, what the fuck, Boris? Are you kidding me? So, yeah, that's the Prime Minister of Britain, everyone. But of course, it's Jeremy Corbyn who is the true anti-Semite. It's Jeremy Corbyn. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that we all expose Jeremy Corbyn for being a horrifying anti-Semite, for saying Palestinians should exist. Obviously, nothing is comparable to that. That is one of the most horrifying things a human being could possibly say and or suggest. So it's a good thing we put an end to that. And, Boris Johnson, more books, please.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we beseech thee to smite down our enemies. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble court jesters, here to amuse you. To our lords, Trevor R., we give thanks for this spit of land for us to eke out this meager existence. To our knights, Merid, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Ellie Leslie, Alex P., Brandon, Words Greenwood, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Val 9000, Jenna Tall, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multi Mondi, Trevor Yanis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Cern 42, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our flag in a veil, and we salute you, our friends.